Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I wanted to talk about something kind of controversial that was being talked about a lot before Modern Warfare released, but now is something I really think needs to be brought up, and it's the fact that I believe wholeheartedly that Modern Warfare should have had a zombies mode. Now, I was advocating for this game to have zombies for a long time. A lot of people said it wasn't going to have it. They're like, it's Modern Warfare, why would it have zombies? But I kept saying, it's a new franchise, you know, they're starting over the Modern Warfare series, and since zombies has been a staple in COD since like Black Ops 3, actually really since Advanced Warfare, I was like, there's no way they're not going to do it. And hell, supernatural modes as a whole have been a staple in COD since Black Ops 2. We've had some sort of a supernatural side mode. Normally it was zombies, but of course Ghosts just did Extinction instead, and I was expecting to either have Extinction, zombies, or some kind of supernatural mode, but then we get to hear that it doesn't have it, and instead they decided to go with Spec Ops. I was insanely disappointed. I know some people that I'm friends with that were also kind of disappointed. There's some people who didn't buy this game just because of that fact. They wanted zombies, they wanted to have that fun, enjoyable side mode, but I was like, okay, if this game's multiplayer is beyond amazing, if the Spec Ops is great, if the Battle Royale is great, then I'll be okay with it at the end of the day. But we get the game, we're now, like 4 months into the life cycle. I think Spec Ops is terrible, Battle Royale isn't even here yet, and multiplayer is kind of just meh. And I've already beaten the campaign, so the only portion of this game I'm playing still is the multiplayer, and I don't really love it that much. I would like to have that third mode to hop over to every now and then, but Spec Ops, I get zero enjoyment out of it. I've never had enjoyment. I've tried it a couple times. It's just one of my least favorite modes I've ever played in a Call of Duty game ever. They're adding stuff to it, but none of the stuff is fun. It's just, you're just shooting AI bots. It's not, I want to be playing against zombies. I think that's kind of obvious. Now, I'm not going to hate on a game because it didn't do exactly what I want, but wholeheartedly, I do believe that if this game had zombies, it would be getting a much better it would be getting overall represented in a much more positive way. If the zombies mode was good, of course. If it was trash, then I'm sure it wouldn't be, but it would definitely be getting more even just popularity, because look at the zombies players. No one's talking about Modern Warfare in terms of the zombies community. The zombies community is dead. The only thing they're talking about is this next Call of Duty Treyarch, right? Black Ops 5 most likely, but the zombies community is either just not there, playing COD Mobile Zombies, which isn't really that great for a mobile game. It's fine, but it's not anything better than what we would have gotten in a console game. Some of them are hopping over to some custom maps, of course. You got people like Tim Hansen playing custom zombies, stuff like that. You got people doing videos on older COD games. You still got Greg FPS doing stuff on older games, stuff like that. That's all, great. But imagine if this game had zombies. And the main argument against having zombies in this game, the reason why people didn't want it, and the reason why they probably didn't even add it, is because people were afraid of getting burnt out. And I hate that argument. I hate the argument for anything. People use that argument in Marvel. They say there's too many Marvel movies. They use the argument for Star Wars. There's too much Star Wars. I don't get how you can love something but think there's too much of it. You can always just step back. You don't have to do everything that's within that universe. Like The Walking Dead, for example. We have like 3 different Walking Dead shows going on. You don't have to watch all of them. Just watch the main one. If you're going to complain about the other ones, just enjoy the one you're watching. Now, the only problem that lies in to doing too much is if the developers are now allocating resources into other places. Like, for example, people were complaining about the fact that if maybe Blackout wasn't there in the first place, they'd allocate more resources towards zombies and multiplayer in Black Ops 4. So people were saying that would be better. But what you have to realize is the studio is pretty damn big. And Spec Ops, they made a huge-ass map for it, which we know they're going to use for Battle Royale. Imagine if they just allocated the resources that they use in the Spec Ops map for zombies. I mean, they have the whole gulag for Modern Warfare 2. Why not make that a zombies map, Why not take certain portions of the Spec Ops maps and just make it into zombies locations that we can play on for zombies? And the reason they used for why they decided to not do zombies was because they wanted the game to feel all realistic, like they wanted to all feel like that military, which we know is bullshit because leaks prove that zombies was in the game. They were working on a zombies mode. Activision told them to scrap it and not do it, probably around the time when Black Ops 4 was getting some bad reception, and people were saying zombies stinks in this game, stuff like that, they probably said, okay, we're going to take a break from zombies this year, so just scrap what you were doing, which I think was a terrible move. I don't think that's going to solve anything. I think that just makes more people go away. You could maybe bring some people back in, maybe if you did a really solid zombies mode, and it doesn't have to be anything similar to what Treyarch done. You can make it very different. Just have the core ideas and concept of zombies there, but in your own way. And that's what they were pretty good at doing. Infinity Ward made Infinite Warfare Zombies, which I think is amazing. Now, they didn't have to do a sequel to that. I would have liked them to, but they could have just done Modern Warfare Zombies, had a map in Chernobyl if you really wanted to. I don't know, do like what I just said, just take locations from this Spec Ops map and just make those into zombies locations, and you can make a map out of that. I'm sure the developers have the capabilities of doing that. I mean, apparently this game had its full 3 years to develop, as opposed to Black Ops 4 having, you know, rough development throughout it, stuff like that. But Black Ops 4 was still able to come out with some pretty damn good zombies maps, so why the hell couldn't Modern Warfare do that? If maybe they weren't busy working on Spec Ops, which is not really being played that much. Let's be real here. You look at the YouTube views for Spec Ops, no one's watching Spec Ops. I doubt many people are actually playing it. Multiplayer is not doing bad right now, honestly, in terms of the YouTube scene and stuff like that, and Twitch. Multiplayer is actually doing pretty good, but it's still getting a bad reception from the hardcore community, not really from the casual community. The casual community actually really likes Modern Warfare, which is really surprising to me. It's not surprising, because the game is really built for casuals if you really think about it. I'm just saying that zombies having like 5 to 8 maps per year, that's not too much. Like, you look at maps when we get them, usually they are they're really hyped up like a week or two before they come out, and then the map comes out, and like the first 2 days of the map is like just full on people doing Easter egg runs and stuff like that. It's like a whole event. It's great. I love when new zombie maps releases. Those days are great. And then like a week after the map comes out, it starts to die down a little bit. People are still checking the map out every now and then, you know, but then they start going back to old maps, or they start going to other games. And then we just get excited for the next map, and then we predict for it, theorize for it, you know, still go back to the map every now and then and play it, maybe do some speedruns, stuff like that, but it's not being played daily like it was the first week of the launch. So how come having that 5 to 8 times per year, how is that too much? Like, if we go with what I just said, maybe like 6 times per year on average, right? Most games have like 5 to 8 maps, that's what I'm saying. You look at Black Ops 4, it had 8 maps, you look at Infinite Warfare had 5 maps. You look at Black Ops 3, it had 6 maps plus the Zombies Chronicles, which was one whole pack, so you kind of really count it as one thing, to be honest. And they're just remakes anyways, or remasters. But having like 6, which is like 1 map per 2 months, why is that so crazy to people? I don't see how that's too much. That's really not. I mean, if we had it, let's just imagine that they would have done the same thing they did in Infinite Warfare, where they had 1 map on disc and 4 DLC maps. We would have had 1 map. Probably by now we would have 2. So we would have, maybe the newest one would come out like probably within the past like month or so. So we would have had 2 maps thus far. This would keep the zombies community intact, so they'd still be getting excited for these new maps, which, let's be real here, no one's really getting that excited for the Modern Warfare DLC. I mean, let's be real here, the maps, no one's really being like, oh my god, I can't wait for Season 2. You see people saying that? I see maybe like a couple people saying that on Twitter. Most people are like, just fix the damn game already. If you had zombies, that would give people more of an incentive to be excited for something, because it's more than just a new multiplayer map. New multiplayer maps aren't that exciting. They really aren't. They don't change up the game that much. They're just new places to fight on in the already existing multiplayer experience. And the Spec Ops maps, they're nothing crazy either, right? But if we had zombies, which they would do crazy different things for the maps, you'd get people on board. And even if it wasn't the best mode of all time, it doesn't have to be. It's just enough to keep people hanging on until the next game. People would still be getting excited for the next game. I'm sure not having it, yeah, of course, people are still going to get excited for this next Treyarch game. I'm sure they will. I mean, people are definitely being more reserved about it, mainly because it's being made in one less year than what, you know, we would expect. But there are still people really excited for it. I honestly think you would have more people just enjoying Modern Warfare, though, if you had that zombies mode. And it would give people more of an acceptance as to whether or not Black Ops 5 was good or bad, because people are honestly going on, they're saying in their mind, if Black Ops 5 is not good in terms of zombies, then it's over, which that's bullshit, because they've been saying that since like Black Ops 3. They've been saying like, okay, if this game isn't like the best, it's over. Never playing again. They said that for Infinite Warfare. Said that for World War II. They said that for Black Ops 4. They said that for Modern Warfare. And every single game's getting bad reception during its life cycle. And then a couple years later, people go back and say, you know what? That game wasn't that bad. They're saying that for Black Ops 4. They're saying that for World War II. They're saying that for Infinite Warfare. People are saying that these games were not that bad because the current one isn't what they wanted, and they're pissed off at the current one, so they go back to the old ones and they get a whole new look on them. They're going to be saying that about Modern Warfare in probably a year from now. Probably. They're going to be complaining about the next game, saying there's not enough content in it, probably complaining about some new zombies feature that really isn't game breaking at all, but they still complain anyways. It's going to happen. And I think if we had zombies in this game, it would at least give Modern Warfare something for people to get more excited for the zombies community, because you have to realize there's a whole zombies community there, right? You have that multiplayer community that's really dedicated, but what do they get from Modern Warfare? They get nothing. Yeah, I know back in the day, Modern Warfare, the first 3 Modern Warfares, they didn't have zombies, but we didn't really care that much because we didn't expect anything more. But once Ghosts tried Extinction, we were like, okay, I'm assuming Infinity Ward is going to stick with Extinction, which I hope they build upon it and make it better, because I didn't love it, but, you know, whatever. And then Sledgehammer comes out with zombies, and then Infinite Warfare comes out with zombies, and at that point, I'm like, okay, zombies is clearly going to be a staple in every COD game, and I hope they do it, because they have done pretty good jobs at it. Treyarch aren't the only good ones at zombies. I think World War II zombies, although it wasn't amazing, it was definitely a good attempt. Infinite Warfare, one of my favorite zombie modes of all time. Advanced Warfare, we don't really talk about that zombies mode, but to be fair, that was their first attempt, so, you know, it's fair enough, right? Hell, I would have taken Extinction in Modern Warfare, but personally speaking, I think if we had zombies in this game, and I'm saying the same thing I've said over and over again in this video, but I'm saying wholeheartedly, it would not have negatively impacted the game at all. It would not have negatively impacted the community. Only way it would have done that is if it was so shitty that people were like, man, this is not possible, I can't. Even if it was really shitty, which I would hope it wouldn't be, I don't think that would throw people off, though. That would make people think, okay, whatever, we'll just wait for Treyarch's next game. That's what people would say. And that's why COD and Activision are so freaking smart with doing these yearly releases. Now, I know people want them to do these, stop the year releases and give them more time to work on it, but why the yearly releases work so well is because if people don't like the current game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you know what they say? They know exactly when the next one's coming out. They know it's coming out a year from now. They know that. So they say, okay, you know what? I'll wait. That's why they keep this consistency. They've been keeping that consistency since like 2007. Probably even 2006. I don't remember exactly when COD 3 released, but it was probably around the same time. They've been keeping this consistency for a long time. They know that when you release the game around the same time of the year, October, November, and you do that every single year, no matter how good or bad the game is, if people despise it, they will say, you know what, maybe the next one will be alright. And usually their marketing is spot on for like every COD, so people are pretty hyped and they buy that game because the marketing is really good. They make some really hella good trailers. They make things that could possibly be shit look amazing. That's why they're so smart. If they didn't do these yearly releases and instead they just release the next one whenever they want to announce it, that would throw people off. They'd be saying, you know, I don't know when the hell the next one's coming out, so I'm just gonna stay away from the community. But when people know when the next one's coming out, that keeps them immersed in the community. They're staying on Twitter. They're staying talking about COD because they want to speculate and get excited for the next one. It's hard to get excited for a game when you don't know when the hell it's coming out. You look at GTA 6 could come out next year, it could come out in 5 years. I have no idea. We have no idea. So it's hard to get excited and speculating for that game. I'm not a part of the GTA community. I haven't played GTA 5 in forever. But if I knew that game was coming out next year, I might be more inclined to play GTA 5 just to get my last licks of that game out before the next one comes out. I might do that. But because I have no idea when the hell it's coming out, I just have no interest in playing GTA. I have no interest in touching it. So that's why they do these yearly releases. And having zombies every year, that does not kill the zombies. You have multiplayer every year. You have a new campaign every year besides Black Ops 4. So why can't you have new zombies every year? People act like just having zombies every year is going to be the same thing, but it's not. It's never the same. You have Infinite Warfare, this fun, goofy mode, versus World War II, which is a serious, dark, gritty mode. Then you go to Black Ops 4, they got literally like Greek mythology within the story. The maps are so diverse and so different when they go to each Call of Duty game, and this game would be completely different. You know why? Because it would be modern zombies. We have not had a modern zombies experience aside from like a few maps taking place within some of the current years, but at the end of the day, the guns are still either within the future or from the Cold War era. We have not had like a full-on like modern day zombies mode experience, having, you know, these modern weapons with not only these amazing graphics that Modern Warfare has and these amazing mechanics and the gun customization and how the guns feel. The guns feel real. Imagine fighting zombies with those type of guns. And you don't have to do the goofy shit that Black Ops 4 Infinite Warfare did. You can keep it gritty and serious so your game's tone still stays gritty and serious, which is bullshit because look at multiplayer. They're literally adding pink, like rainbow unicorn camos and like these hentai like anime camos. So don't act like your game's a whole serious, gritty, dark if you're gonna do that. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind the goofiness, but just don't act like your game's gonna be serious if you're just gonna do that. You know what I mean? Of course, the campaign stays gritty and serious every year, but if you're gonna mess around with the multiplayer, don't say we can't have zombies because you want the game to be realistic. If you're just gonna do that with multiplayer, you know what I mean? That's stupid, it's hypocritical in my opinion. And there's still a lot of the zombies guys. Even though Lee Ross left the studio to go to Treyarch, that doesn't mean they can't still do zombies. They still have a lot of the zombies team there. They could have got a new head for it. They could have just done something better than Spec Ops. I don't know. I'm ranting at this point. Regardless, I just wanted to get this video out to you guys because I want to just talk about this because I think it's an important thing to mention because we might be getting the next Call of Duty's reveal within the next 3 months. I really hope we do because I really want to see what the hell Treyarch has in store for us because Treyarch has never let me down. Well, I mean, they haven't lived up to my expectations completely every year, but they've definitely given me at least a decent COD. Every COD since Black Ops 1. I think the Black Ops franchise is the best, and I've never been disappointed. I mean, I've been disappointed. I haven't been, like, overly disappointed is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, Black Ops 4 wasn't as good as I was hoping, but I still enjoyed it. Definitely more than Modern Warfare. Because look at Black Ops 4. I have Blackout, multiplayer, and zombies to mess around with. I literally only have multiplayer to mess around with in Modern Warfare, and the multiplayer isn't even that good. Spec Ops, you know, I'm not touching that. And campaign, I already beat it. You know, you play it once and you never play it again. That's why I was okay with Black Ops 4 removing the campaign because I said, you know what? You're going to get a lot more replay value out of Blackout than you are out of campaign. Even though campaign's nice to get that story, we still had a nice story within zombies. So I didn't really need another story in the campaign. I was okay with it, right? I was okay with it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.